Okay. So Makuru, you have actually led, in different structures, of leadership. You are the chairperson at some point of the VETS, ZCCSF, and many other roles of leadership. The thing that I would like, especially with you, because of I think we've once had a similar conversation. In most cases, when we talk about leadership, we talk about leadership from, the power perspective, from the leader perspective, from the impact perspective. But there are some things that are very toxic about leadership, or there are things that we make toxic about leadership. In some cases, you see people abusing their power. In some cases, you see people, now they become arrogant because they're leaders, or now they have an ego, they develop an ego and everything. I just want us to talk about those things, those toxic things and everything like that. So
Okay.
yeah. So in your experience, how do we guard against those things? And you know,
When when you are chosen to be in a leadership position, it does not necessarily mean that you are smarter than everyone else. It does not necessarily mean that you are more special than any other person. It simply means that people saw a potential in you. People believe in you, to deliver the mandate that will be given to you. So don't be arrogant about it. So certain things that will happen when you get into positions of leadership, people will start looking at you differently. You know, women will start throwing themselves at you. Okay, with women that I know and that I've interacted with, most women are interested in power. If you occupy a position of power and maybe influence, they'll be interested in you. So you need to know who you are. You need to be disciplined and don't entertain all those things. Not everything that comes your way must be entertained.
yeah.
So be disciplined and serve the people who elected you to lead them to the best of your ability. And it's a learning curve, especially when you start doing these things from a young age. You start knowing how to conduct yourself in meetings. You start knowing what is expected of you when you are in a leadership position. That the minute you get to work in a company and you get to be in a same boardroom, let's say with the company CEO or with some of the partners of the company, you will be sound, because this will be a familiar environment or territory to you. So let it be a learning curve, and young people must participate in leadership positions. Learn. You start knowing how to deal with people. You attend meetings with difficult people. Some people can be very difficult. But if you do that at the varsity, at the university level, the minute you start working, you'll find very same people, and it will be good for you, or it will be an advantage for you, because you'll be knowing how to deal with such people.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's basically that being chosen to be in a leadership position does not necessarily mean that you are smarter than everyone else or you are special. It's just that we believe in you, to deliver the mandate that we give to you.
Sure. No, I think that is very much well said. If there is something, Advocate Makuru, that you make it looks easy, there are certain things that some people they make look easy. Is fatherhood. Like there are certain people that will make something look easy, and then you get into it, you're like, hey man, this thing is tough, most, but how does so and so, make it look so easy and everything like that? We are in South Africa, and one of the things that actually is a reality, and even when we look into the stats, we have an issue of single mothers. And when I say single mothers, I mean that mothers or women that are raising their children, whereby the fathers of those children are really absent. They are not there. You get what I'm saying? So there is a phenomenon, and it's a worrying one. I think it's something that we should worry about, because of, in my understanding and in my belief, is that a child really needs to have a presence of both parents, because they each play a different role for the development of the child. So as someone like you, that I see that you really love your kids, you really love your kids so much.
Anything.
Yeah. So what's your observation around those things? What are the factors that are actually in play when coming to this whole absent fathers, single mothers? What are the factors that maybe one can highlight?
Look, being a present father in your children's life does not necessarily mean that you must be financially stable. This is what most fathers run away from. The minute you feel like, men are people of ego,
Yeah.
So the minute you feel like you cannot provide financially for your child, that does not make you worthy of being called a father. So, and again, there are very toxic mothers out there. So they are the same as absent fathers. Some fathers are absent because, the mothers are toxic. The mother will try and poison the child against the father, and go like, your father, you check on social media, you see young kids saying that. This is not something that a child can conceive in their mind. It's something heard from someone else. And children, just being kids, whatever they think or whatever they think of saying, they'll say it. So they've heard it from the parent, and now they're saying it to the father. And at the end of the day, the person who suffers the most, it's the child.
Yeah.
So some mothers have got this mentality of saying, no, look, if you can't buy my child anything, there's no need for you to even come see him. And as a father, you've got equal parental responsibilities towards the child as the mother. The only difference, it could be that the mother has got custody because she stays with the child. But you have every right towards your child. Your child can come visit you, born, whether you have paid a damage or not. Because this is what most people would say, but I don't patela damage. It doesn't work like that. The Children's Act only says that you must acknowledge and be recognized as the father. That's it. The minute you acknowledge yourself and be recognized as the father of the child, that's all that is required. I think I'll need to move from here because I was sweating and I thought or I can just close the window.
Yeah, close the window.
Sure. Yes. So some mothers are very toxic and they feel like if a man did not pay lobola, the man did not pay damage, or the family of the girl or the family of the father did not introduce themselves to the family of the mother, then it means that no, it doesn't work like that. So whether you have money or not, you are still allowed to spend time with your child. You are still allowed to visit your child. You are still allowed to have your child visiting you.
Yeah.
So most that you find, Balukodi Robotong, these street kids and whatnot, you find kids, especially male, who abuses women. These are children who never had a father figure in their lives.
Mm.
So with me, growing up, I knew the things that I wanted. I knew the things that I wanted my father to do for me. So I was like, if my old man could not do this for me, not to say that he was a bad father, but I'm a better father than him, essentially.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to do things for my children that I wanted to be done for me.
Sure.
So I spent time with my children. And it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. You know, I mean, with me, you know, different children, different mothers, you know, the attitude is not the same. You are buying that child this, you are not buying mine this, you know, those kind of things. But at the end of the day, people need to know that these are my kids. I love them equally. And I'll do everything in my powers to provide for them. If I'm able to do this, these are the things that I'm going to do. But equally, if I'm unable, then I will not be able to do these things for them. You know, and have plan things for our kids. We know most of us, with many black young people, we don't plan these kids. You know, we just have a sexual intercourse and the child is here.
Sure.
Now that there's pregnancy, you are expecting a child, that's when you start planning. But conceiving the child is something that was unplanned.
Yeah.
Then you need to take out policy. Because with our parents, the first thing that they do when you are born, they'll take out a funeral policy. They know for sure that you are going to die. That's the first policy. But with us, on top of that, get your children education policy. You know, get them settled. Know that if I were to die today, what is it that I'm going to leave behind for my children? Take out policies that will take them to universities. So being a father in your child's life, it's important. And at this point, I'm planning on starting an NGO. Actually, it's something that has always been on my mind, to say that any father, even today, any father who wants access to his child or his children and he's denied that by the mother, I'm willing to represent that person for free, to get him custody, to make sure that you've got access to what your child. You'll be allowed to go see your children. Your children will be allowed to come visit you. There's no one, unless if you are not a good person, unless if you are a criminal. There are terrible things that you do that makes you unfit to stay with your children or to have your children visiting you. But as a father, you are allowed to have time with the children. You are allowed to visit them. You are allowed to spend time with them. You are allowed to even to go to their schools and check their performance. Yeah, which is something I think most fathers are not aware of. But others do not want these children. You'd find a man saying that I told this girl to abort the child. Now he decided to keep the child. The baby's here. I want nothing to do with the child. With that being said, you are still allowed to sue the guy, whether he wanted the child or not. You can sue him to pay for maintenance. The only thing that you cannot sue for is for him to spend time with the child. If he says no to that, then there isn't much that you can do. Not even the court can force a man to spend time with the child.
Yeah, no, well said there, Makuru. I think these are the conversations that we need to have, and you said it quite well.
Yeah, and the funny thing, Ben, is that as men, we never talk about these things.
Yeah, we don't.
Men, when you talk about, I'm not sure if this is allowed on your channel even, but when you talk about masturbation among your male friends, they're like, demand. This is something that people do.
Yeah.
We don't talk about what women like. What is it that we should do as guys, and what is it that we're not supposed to do? Women, Banaldi society, they've got clubs, they meet and talk about these things. Right now, we do not. The only time we can meet is at church. At church is choir, sing, go back home. Listen to the pastor, go back home. Or we'll meet in a club. In a club, we are drinking intoxicating substances. And after that, we're looking at women, oh, she's cute. I wish I could take her home. Though we meet during a sporting event. But we never have a platform where we meet as guys and be like, gents, let's talk. men to men. You know, these are the things that you are not supposed to do as a man. These are the things that you're supposed to do with your woman. Take your woman out. If you don't have money, spend time with your girl. If you've got children, these are the things that you need to do as a man. But these are uncomfortable conversations that we never have as Machita. Maybe sometimes there'll be a guy that that is abusive. There'll be a guy that we know that this one is doing 1, 2, and 3. Some of them are your friends. These are people that you know that you have conversation with. This man is accused of raping students at vets, but you never sit down with him with Kurus. I hear that you are accused of doing 1, 2, and 3. Did you really do that? Talk about it. If I'm going to get mad at you, so be it. But these are the things that we must confront. The minute a person talks of racism, that there's a certain person who's being a racist, you act without even thinking twice. You don't even question about it. But the minute a girl comes to you and says that I was sexually abused by this particular individual, you start saying, where were you? What did you do? Maybe you led him into doing that. You did 1, 2, and 3. You don't attack it like you attack any other thing, which is a wrong thing that we're doing as men. Like when you find a girl is raped because she was wearing a miniskirt. Then as a society, we're like, but why were you wearing a miniskirt? What is she supposed to wear? Why were you showing your breast? It's her body. Women should be allowed to do anything they want, without being intimidated or feeling like they'll be attacked by men. Some of the things that we do, a girl will pass by and you'll be like, do some funny. Those are things that we must condemn right there and then. Whether it's your friend or whether I'm your relative, you tell me right then and then, like, hey Joe, what you're doing is wrong. We don't do that. You don't. Some cultures that we have at university residences, when a girl walks by, we teach the first years to say, I smell, They say, I smell pussy, because there's a girl walking. Then we must entertain that. Women should feel safe in our society, regardless of what they are wearing. They should feel okay to walk around the mall in miniskirts. If she feels like walking around wearing only a lingerie at the mall, and they should feel okay to do that. Because when you go to the beach, these people are wearing, only a bra and underwear, and they're walking freely there. But when they do that, when you find them wearing miniskirts somewhere in a club, you start questioning that. It's like, you see, they're inviting rapists. It should not be like that. Our young boys that we are grooming today, we should teach them to say that, look, a woman is respected. You must understand that you are not going to be in this world had it not been for a woman. The same respect. And it's so funny at how we respect our mothers, yet we fail to respect other women or our partners, which is wrong. The same respect that we have for your parent, for your mother, for your sibling, that's the same thing that you must apply to any other women that you meet out there. And the minute you see a guy doing funny things that are aimed at embarrassing or abusing a female figure, you attack him. You deal with him right there and then. And some people, when a man say funny stuff about women, we laugh. Yeah, we're not you. Yeah. No, we must not entertain that. You must tell him straight up, or I'm afraid to know why laugh. No, you don't do that. You do not do that. Oh, that's all that I'm saying. That we must, the same respect that we expect from young girls and young women. That's the same thing that we must teach our young boys to do. You as a young woman, you are taught to aspire marriage. To treat yourself well. Not to engage in certain activities, so that you can get yourself a good man that's going to marry you. The very same thing should be applied to young men, to say that you must treat yourself well. Do not engage in these activities until you are grown up and you can get yourself a good woman they must also aspire into a marriage. It should not be something that is for women only and not for men. That's why these young people grow up thinking that, no, I'm the man. You know, when you get into a house, you know, they don't want to cook, they don't want to clean, they don't want to do anything. They start saying, no, those are the things for women. Now in my house, although my mom did not go to school, with 4 sisters, we had to take shift. You know, today it's me, the following day it's my other sister, the other day is the firstborn, secondborn. That's how it went. The same thing was applied to cleaning the house. I had to clean. The only thing that I do not clean is their rooms, but that is clean a room. Same thing applies to they don't clean my room. I clean my own space. But when it comes to doing the house chores, no, we should do one and the same thing.
Yeah.
Those things, they do not make you less of a man. No, it's not like how Munaselo or Bari. You know, the mentality that we have. And I mean, I look at my own life. There are stuff that I did that I'm not proud of. You know, one of them was having women. You know, get this, get that one, get that one. And to some people, to most guys, are like, this man, he's the man. And that's stupidity. You know, today I tell people that I'd rather respect a guy that is single than a man who's got 10 girlfriends. Because being single, it means that you are disciplined. You know how to contain yourself. You know things that you're not supposed to be doing. You know? So, but getting a girl is the easiest thing that any person can do. You just have to go into a mall, see a person and say hello, talk. That's it. You know?
You make it look so easy.
Well, I guess I'm an expert. You know, it was one of those where I would even have an argument with guys who say that I have a record of never being rejected by a woman. And if there's a girl who'd say that I rejected you, I'd say, hey, come here, you say you rejected, there's no girl. But those were wrong things that we break about. But it's not the right way to go. And sometimes when you even encourage these young ones today, you know, there are some people who provide them with our old files. They give them our old files. They're like, that one. Oh, then they come and like, I hear you are key. And I'm like, no, man, that is wrong. You know, we should not be encouraging those kind of things. Those are wrong things. You know, I would never encourage, as much as I do wrong things, I would never encourage another person to do bad things that I'm doing. You know, I take what my pastors always teach me. Do what I say to you, don't do what I do. You know? Yeah, that's how it should go. And with the speaking talks, I exonerate myself. I do not participate in talks that I feel like they do not push the agenda that I'm for. You know, this other day I was invited for a talk by Youth of Peace. Like, we want you to come and talk about, you know, abstaining and not interacting or doing particular things. And I felt like it's a very good topic, but I'm not that informed about it. And I don't want to come to people and say that having a sexual intercourse is a sin. Then you go to the Bible, there's no verse in the Bible, there's no scripture that says sexual intercourse is a sin, you know. But then you hear people preaching and talking about it. Whereas in scripture, there's nothing like that. The scripture is only against adultery, which is the scripture is about it, but not any other thing. But yeah, if I don't have anything to back it up, or I'm not fully clued up, I don't go in there, you know? And there's nothing wrong with saying, look, I do not know, so I'd rather sit there and let you guys invite someone else. In fact, there are people that I can recommend who can speak to this topic.
Sure.
Not in me.
Sure. Yeah. Hopefully you don't get challenged by some theologians about the issue of sexual intercourse and the Bible, Makuru.